Many individuals mistakenly believe that if someone truly loves them, they will naturally feel it through clear, consistent, and proactive actions. But when you are in love with an emotionally avoidant person, their affection does not always look like that traditional picture. Therefore, the crucial question you should ask is not simply whether or not this specific person actually loves you right now. Instead, you must ask yourself what an avoidant person would do differently when they genuinely experience deep feelings of true love. I want you to take a moment and deeply think about this fascinating psychological dynamic regarding emotional distance and personal control. By their very nature, an avoidant individual instinctively tries to maintain a safe distance and keep strict control over their emotions. They actively avoid anything that makes them feel vulnerable, exposed, or at risk of getting hurt in an intimate romantic relationship. So if they do not truly love you, they will simply withdraw and disappear very easily when things start getting complicated. They will offer no explanation, make absolutely no effort to fix things, and never look back once they have walked away. But if they genuinely love you, there will be a specific moment where they act completely against their own natural instincts. A former patient of mine, whom we will call Ryan, once shared a profound realization about his own deeply avoidant behavior. He confessed that he desperately wanted to disappear, but something deep inside him simply did not want to lose her forever. Ryan was still incredibly terrified of the closeness, and his initial impulse was still pushing him to retreat into his shell. But for the very first time in his life, he did not vanish completely into the shadows like he usually did. He actually came back to her, and while his return was not perfectly executed, he was present and trying his best. This exact behavior is a crucial sign of love that so many frustrated partners completely overlook when dating an avoidant person. When an avoidant truly loves you, it does not mean they magically stop being avoidant or instantly cure their deep fears. Instead, it means that they are still very afraid, but they refuse to leave you completely alone in the dark anymore. Have you ever experienced this confusing dynamic in your own romantic life while trying to connect with a distant, guarded partner? They go completely silent for a while, leaving you feeling abandoned and convinced that the entire relationship has finally ended forever. Then out of nowhere, they return to your life, not with grand apologies, but with a surprisingly simple and casual message. They might just send a quick text saying they have been thinking about you lately and wondering how you are doing. You might feel disappointed because this small gesture is definitely not the ideal consistency or passionate romance you were hoping for. However, for someone with a strongly avoidant attachment style, reaching out like that is actually an incredibly massive and difficult step. I am certainly not saying that this bare minimum effort is nearly enough to sustain a healthy, fulfilling romantic relationship forever, but it serves as a genuine signal that you matter to them. What's showing that you are not just an easily discarded option? Here is the most critical part of this dynamic that you need to hear and understand very clearly for your own sake. Just because an avoidant person comes back does not mean they are finally ready to love you the way you truly need. They might genuinely love you in their heart, yet still completely lack the emotional capacity to stay consistently present with you. I previously worked closely with another client, whom we shall call Daniel, who struggled deeply with his own avoidant relationship patterns. Daniel ended up returning to his ex-girlfriend 3 separate times, always feeling a profound sense of longing and deep regret. Each time he came back, he earnestly told her how much he missed her and how he hated losing her completely. But every single time, he predictably retreated and pulled away again the moment their emotional connection started feeling too intensely close. Therefore, the real sign of a lasting relationship is never just about whether they eventually return after a period of silence. The true question is whether they choose to stay by your side when the emotional intimacy becomes overwhelming and extremely difficult. When an avoidant person truly loves you, they will gradually begin to do something remarkably different from their usual defensive patterns. They will actually start putting in a noticeable effort to maintain the delicate connection between you two, despite their internal fears. Their efforts will certainly not be flawless, and their emotional presence will probably not be perfectly continuous or consistently reassuring either. But despite all the awkwardness and hesitation, you will clearly see that they are genuinely trying to fight their own instincts. They will bravely choose to stay engaged during difficult conversations instead of immediately running away when conflicts inevitably begin to arise. They will actively return to you after briefly withdrawing, proving that their desire for you outweighs their overwhelming fear of closeness. And very slowly, step by step, they will allow you to see the vulnerable, authentic person hiding behind their protective walls. But please always remember this fundamental truth when navigating a deeply complicated relationship with someone who heavily avoids emotional intimacy daily. You should never have to exhaust yourself trying to decode every tiny, ambiguous action just to prove they actually love you. Because when true love is genuinely present in a relationship, it will ultimately become clear enough for you to confidently feel. It might not look like a perfect fairy tale romance, but it will carry a reassuring weight that grounds your anxious heart. It will be just consistent enough to provide security so you do not have to wake up questioning their feelings every day. I want you to pause for a second and honestly ask yourself one incredibly important question about your current romantic situation. If this fragmented, confusing behavior is exactly how they express love, do you actually feel truly loved and cherished right now? Because sometimes the absolute hardest part of this journey is not figuring out whether they hold romantic feelings for you inside. The most difficult challenge is finding the courage to accept the harsh reality about what their limited love actually looks like. You must realize that their specific version of love, no matter how genuine, might never be what your heart truly needs. It is heartbreaking to acknowledge that someone can love you deeply, but still be entirely incapable of being a supportive partner. You deserve to experience a healthy, fulfilling relationship where love flows freely and brings you absolute peace instead of constant anxiety. You deserve a love that does not force you to constantly read between the lines or endlessly guess about their intentions. True love should make you feel secure, valued, and deeply understood, without requiring you to sacrifice your own personal emotional well-being. Take a deep breath, trust your intuition, and remember that your emotional needs are entirely valid and worthy of being met. Never settle for a fragmented relationship that leaves you feeling empty, because the right person will happily provide the consistency required. Thank you for watching this video. We hope it helps you find clarity. See you next time on Psych Insight Lab.